Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Dan and Kev's Wrestling Talk Show. It's your weekly roundup. Glad to be back in our usual spot of Sunday at 11 a.m. Mate, we've had a couple of weeks off, so
it's nice to be back.
Yeah, it is nice to be back. But been a busy week, to be honest. A lot's happened. Probably not the week that we should have had. Having had the draft. With it obviously all not taking effect until after Crown Jewel, which is a bit stupid, but
that is
it is what it is.
Why didn't they do the draft the following week? I don't know. Why do it and then it's not until
no. I mean, it would have just worked so much better if it was Crown Jewel Thursday and then the draft Friday Night SmackDown and then Monday Night Raw finishing the draft off.
Yeah,
and then it's all done then. I don't know. All a bit strange.
Also, as well, did you see the report that came out that no one in NXT knew that Hit Row were getting drafted up?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently there was a load of plans in place for Hit Row, and no one was told that they were moved up. All the production team and writers and everything didn't know. So they were like caught completely off guard when they were drafted.
Yeah, absolutely. Strange. Obviously, it was a secret that they wanted to keep close to the chest, in which case, I mean...
it's 4 of them going up as well, isn't it? It's 4 of them that are going up. So it's not just like one person, it's all the whole group.
Yeah. Like we said on the last episode, it's all been a bit... The picks that they took was a bit strange. The ones that did get brought up from NXT over the ones that didn't make much sense. The doing it now when it doesn't take effect for another couple of weeks doesn't make sense. It's just the entire thing has been done like a bag of shit, to be honest.
It's been done very strangely, and I don't know why, but I was quite happy with a few of the picks, but like you said, I think a lot of the picks were a bit like, like I said, the majority of them were pretty, like, you knew that they were happy. You knew that Seth was going to go where Becky was.
Yeah.
You know, Bianca Belair was going to go where the Street Profits went.
Yeah.
So it was sort of obvious that they were going to be drafted to whatever show anyone else was going to get drafted to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was just very, it was sort of like, we knew that was happening.
Yeah. I was really looking forward to the draft, and like I said on our last show, what left me feeling disappointed was the reason why for me the draft wasn't very good was because it kind of felt like no one in WWE cared. It just kind of felt a bit like whoever was, the powers that be, whoever was writing it and coming up with who was going where. It was like they were just going, I don't really care. I'm not bothered. So they can go there. They can go there. Whatever. I'm not bothered. Like there didn't seem to be any planning involved.
They had Mace, didn't they, and T-Bar.
Yeah.
I hope that Dijakovic goes back to his name and he gets a singles run. I don't see much for Mace, but you never know.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Mace needed that tag team to kind of, stay relevant, I guess. And they also split up Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart, which I
know. And they didn't even get their title shot. They won a tag team women's title, and they've never got it. And now they won't get it because they've split up.
Again, it seems like no one cares and there's no forward planning involved. And it's like no one at the top has a clue. It's like, NXT and Triple H had worked for weeks on teasing with the battery slowly charging up.
Yeah.
And then it was Tegan Nox. And then a week later, she was drafted to SmackDown, with Shotzi Blackheart. So it's like, what's the point in the whole back now? That was a waste of time. And then they did really well. They had a match like the first 3 weeks on SmackDown, won the title shot, never got the title shot. I actually believe that the women's tag team titles changed hands 3 times, and they still didn't get a title shot. They've not had a match at all in a couple of months. They've just been backstage pissing about on a fucking little tiny tank, and now they've split them up. It's just it's like, I don't know whoever it is making the decisions, because yes, of course, Vince has to okay everything, but he's not involved in much of the creative process anymore. Which is why he hired a whole team for that, which is, Bruce Pritchard, Paul Heyman, obviously, Road Dogg, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, people like that, Stephanie McMahon. There's an entire creative team that I honestly thought that it would start getting better. I thought with fans back, I honestly thought that us, because me and you have watched wrestling for so many years, we know a lot more. We're not just casual watchers of it. We understand a lot more. How do I word this? We understand as much as we can without actually being a part of that industry.
Like where I've predicted things, and you said, "Oh, you must have a crystal ball."
Yeah,
it's just so predictable because of how long I've watched it now, how long I've watched the product, and it's sort of like getting more predictable as it goes on. It's like,
which isn't a good thing.
What's going on?
No, which isn't a good thing, but it's like, yeah, you're right, the predictions, but it's like, we can feel it. Like we aren't just watching like Raw, SmackDown, and NXT and AEW, and just we understand everything that goes in behind it, because both of us have gone out of our way to find as much information and gain as much knowledge as we can, because we're interested in it. And I think both of us should kind of, admit at the fact that we've both I've kind of broke that fourth wall, and we both have kind of ruined wrestling as an entertainment product for ourselves by finding out so much information. Do you know what I'm saying? Because once you find out,
I think as well, we've liked it for so many years as well now. Like you're saying, it's becoming a bit predictable. It's taking the fun away from it because we've liked it for so much. I think that's why AEW is a little bit better in terms of that, because there's not a lot of information being pumped out about it like there is with WWE. No. I guarantee there's like 50, 100 posts on WWE every day, over 30 posts for AEW.
Yeah, and this is part of the problem, because me and you have kind of gone, I want to understand the behind the scenes stuff and how it works. And it's like, as great as it is, I've always said this, because I've had numerous friends ask me, is it worth watching the Undertaker documentary on the network, Last Ride? And I've picked my words very carefully, and I've said to every single person that has asked me, you have to go into it knowing that certain things that you believed and that made the Undertaker special are going to be destroyed. Things that you don't want to know, because it ruins what makes the Undertaker special and what makes WWE so special. Don't watch it, and don't watch Dark Side of the Rings. Don't watch, if you want to keep your viewing pure and be allowed to dream, and don't go and watch all the thousands of hours of stuff that is out there that explains what happens behind the scenes on all wrestling promotions, not just WWE. Whereas me and you have a bit of an obsessive interest in it. And we've
I think that's why they
knowledge about it, and it has ruined it for us both, I think.
Yeah, I think that's why they do so well, is because as wrestling fans for many years, we want to know what's going on. And it's like, oh my God, that's what they were doing when they were creating certain bits. Oh, that's what was said after that match. What were they doing? What were they thinking and doing before gearing up for the match at WrestleMania and things like that? That fascinates me, because it's like, well, what were they doing? Oh yeah, they were just chilling out at ringside like this.
Yeah, exactly. It is. I find it interesting, but it has taken away some of the things that
Yeah, it
does make it special. But
takes away the specialness of it, doesn't it? Because
it does, yeah.
you then realise that it's scripted, that they're all best mates behind the scenes, and
But look, the best explanation for this is the Brock Lesnar and Undertaker thing, because you find me a human being alive that's a WWE fan or not. It really doesn't matter whether you're a WWE fan. It doesn't even matter if you're a mixed martial arts fan or a
yeah,
UFC fan. If you've seen the footage of Undertaker at one of Brock Lesnar's fights and the way that they speak to each other, you watch that, you're falling for it. You think, fucking hell, these two guys hate each other. Even if you don't know who they are, you might never
yeah,
have heard of The Undertaker or Mark Calloway or Brock Lesnar. You might never have heard of them. You see that footage, you go, fucking hell, they don't like each other. And then you watch the Last Ride documentary. Actually, they've been best mates for about 30 years.
yeah,
It's, things. There's lots of things that I think aren't special anymore. But I think if you want to have a successful podcast and you want to
yeah,
have an opinion, and you want other people to hear your opinion on anything wrestling related, the whole reason why we set up this podcast, you have to know what you're talking about. Like me and you can't be sat here, just spouting absolute bollocks, because people are just going to watch and go, "You're talking shit," and turn off. Do you know?
yeah,
I think both of us have had quite nice comments and replies saying, you two clearly know what you're talking about, which is always,
yeah,
it's always nice to hear,
right,
because
yeah,
both of us put a lot of time into this podcast. And a lot of people don't realize, how much time we do actually put into it, because both of us work, both of us have wives, both of us have children,
yeah,
and if you want to keep this podcast interesting, you have to have watched all of the content that week.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if you don't, if me and you were sat here talking about the last Raw that me and you watched, and it was a month ago, no one's going to be interested, you know.
no, no,
Um, so it is a lot of work,
yeah,
and both of us enjoy doing it as well. We get enjoyment out of doing it, but there is a lot of work that goes into it. It's not just watching Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, and all the pay-per-views. It is constantly scrolling through Twitter, because me and you want this podcast to be about what are the wrestling fans talking about, not just what's going on inside all of the different companies.
yeah,
If we see on, I mean, we have a very active Facebook wrestling group. We're both very
yeah,
active on the Twitter scene. You can see people arguing, and you can see, it's like what I mentioned. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to waste any more time talking about it, but we did talk for about 15-20 minutes about the Demon versus Roman Reigns match, and a large chunk of that wasn't actually what happened. We was discussing different wrestling fans' opinions on what they
yeah,
liked and didn't like, and why. And that wasn't, you didn't find, we both of us didn't find that information by watching the products. We found that
right,
information by being on Twitter.
yeah,
So there is a hell of a lot that goes into it for us to do a 1 or 2 1 hour show a week. And I think, I think, I think, I think it's important to kind of, how do I put this? It's important to kind of understand a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and me and you have accepted that it's going to ruin a lot of things for us in order for us to gain enough knowledge for us
yeah,
to then get an opinion based off facts that we have gathered, rather than just waffling absolute bullshit. You want
yeah,
to, you know what I mean? You want to
yeah,
be, because I mean, it's happened to both of us. How many times have you put something out on Twitter or YouTube and someone's questioned you and gone, "You're talking shit," and you can go, "Well, here's the evidence, dickhead." Do you know,
yeah, yeah,
like it is important, because if when you put yourself out there on YouTube, you're opening yourself up to criticism. And I think both of us went into this knowing that you have to have thick skin, because as nice as it is reading the comments that you two do a great job, it isn't nice when you see comments going, you two talk shit. But at the same time, that's their opinion. And like me and you've said off camera, just because they have a different opinion to you and I have a different opinion to you doesn't mean that your voice isn't worth listening to.
No.
Both of us have, a lot of the time, because a lot of us do think the same way in terms of what we want and what we expect from a wrestling product. I think we do kind of see things the same way, but we speak so much off air that we already know what each other's thinking about whatever the talking point is. But when we do disagree, we're very happy to say, I disagree with you on that. But that doesn't take away from you having a different opinion. And 100 people could watch this video and they could all see things completely differently. And that's the beauty of life, not just wrestling. It is everyone thinks differently.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So, going on to the point that I did want to make was what you put in the Facebook group this morning, Tony Khan. You know
kind of when he put that, I immediately thought either, like you put, either he's a melt, right, or he's taking the piss out of everyone. He's done it sort of like, I'm going to see if I can take the piss here. I'm going to see how many people I can rally up. But I seriously believe that he believes his own hype. He's one of those people. I think he's on cloud 9 at the moment, and so he should be. He owns.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
He owns the Jacks. He owns, the Cottage. Now he owns AEW. I think he's on a bit of a cloud 9, and he just doesn't see the sort of what we're seeing or what we're reporting on. You know what I mean? No. When we see like things like Rampage and the numbers aren't very good, and though the matches are quite good, no one's really watching it.
And
we're going to beat what? You're going to beat not just SmackDown, but you're going to beat WWE's prime show, the show that gets more viewers, seen by more people than SmackDown.
But this is what I don't. This is what I don't understand. This is what I don't understand about that tweet, because Tony Khan isn't stupid. He knows. He's obsessive to the point where the AEW is going to grow and be more and more successful because he cares. Like AEW is going to continue to slowly rise. It's only going that way, and it is because he cares so much and he's so passionate about wrestling. And from one wrestling fan to another wrestling fan to Tony Khan, who's a wrestling fan, you've got to respect him. He knows, he absolutely knows the viewerships and ratings that AEW is pulling in and has been pulling in. He will check every single week. He will know.
Yeah.
He must know that Rampage consistently is getting less than half the viewership of SmackDown. He has to know that. So why put out that tweet? Because all you're going to do by putting out that tweet is make yourself look like an idiot. That's the only thing that tweet accomplishes, because when Friday night happens, I think what he was talking about was next Friday, I do believe.
Yes. Next Friday, it's Super SmackDown. It's on for half. This is what I thought was strange. It's on for half an hour extra. I don't know why only half an hour. No, it's on half an hour.
But look, how do I put this? You only make yourself look like an imbecile when you put out tweets like that, simply because next Friday, the same thing that is going to happen will happen. Him putting out that tweet, he may get a few more viewership. He ain't never bridging that gap. You cannot bridge a gap where you're pulling on an average of what is it, 666,000 Rampage. And SmackDown is consistently 1.2 million.
No. It's over that. It's normally 2 point something now. It's 2.1. I think the last couple.
I'm talking about an average. So if you look at the average viewership for the last 6 months, the average is about 1.2 million. Sometimes below. I mean, look, when the draft was happening, I think it was like 2.4. And I think over the last month, Rampage's 2 months. Over the last 2 months, Rampage's highest. So this isn't an average. This is just the highest point that the viewership has reached. I think were the absolute highest was just under 1 million views watching it live, just under 1 million. And I think that the absolute pinnacle that SmackDown reached was something like 2,496,000. It was almost 2.5 million people, compared to just under 1 million people of Rampage. You can't bridge a gap that big by any tweet, and the reason why you can't bridge a tweet like that is 2 months ago was the debut episode of Rampage, and everyone knew that CM Punk was debuting after 7 years away, and it still didn't break 1 million. It still didn't break 1 million when every man and his dog knew that Punk was turning up in Chicago after 7 years out. Everybody knew, and he still didn't get over 1 million. And since then, since Punk's debut, it's only gone down.
Yeah.
Whereas SmackDown has been consistently at that level, and it hasn't dropped.
Yeah.
It's averaging out a viewership of more than double what Rampage is. So when you put out a tweet saying that you're going to be their main show, when you're putting that tweet out, the hell you're going to get in a week's time, because he's going to get crucified. Because
people will remember that tweet forever and go, "Oh, do you remember when you said this last week?"
But exactly, but it will be on a constant loop of tweets that really didn't age well, and
yeah.
I don't understand why. And the reason why I don't understand why is because Tony Khan is a very, very intelligent man. I mean, if you look at what he's done since AEW started, he's a very, very shrewd businessman, which he obviously inherited from his dad. He's done incredible things. But by his own words, has hired the right people. I think there's a lot that you have to give him a round of applause for, because he's done an incredible job. In putting out that tweet makes him look like an idiot, and we know that he isn't an idiot. I don't understand his thinking. It's like he's had a Donald Trump moment. It's like he's had a Donald Trump where Donald Trump actually had, a member of Donald Trump's team actually hired a member of staff whose job was specifically say, Donald, don't tweet that. And 9 times out of 10, Trump would tweet it anyway. He didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But that was how it felt. It felt like someone was going, Tony, what are you doing? Someone needs to take his phone off him.
Someone commented, didn't they, to say, just concentrate on your own show. And he tweeted back saying, we've got it all. It's already labelled out and stuff like that. Look, on next Friday, Super SmackDown, they've got Brock Lesnar appearing. It's the last SmackDown before the Crown Jewel, which is on a Thursday, strangely. Like last time, it's on a Thursday.
Yeah, it must be something to do with the Saudi Arabian TV. It has to be something to do, like their broadcasting rights mustn't allow a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. For whatever reason. One point that I just have to make is in the comments of that, because I found that tweet after he sent it me. I laughed my bollocks off. Wow, what an absolute melt. And then I went and checked the tweet out for myself, and I'm reading through the comments like I always do. And do you know what? The guy that actually put, Tony, why don't you just concentrate on your own show? That's not being rude. That's not him being, he's clearly a WWE fan who's saying, Tony, instead of calling out WWE, why not just focus on what AEW are doing? Because what AEW are doing at the minute are killing it. Focus on what you're doing, right? And a lot of people had put, the guy had messaged back, like, I think he put something like, there was no need to be a dick about it. And he got absolute hell. He got crucified off bloody AEW warriors who are obviously diving to the defense of their god. And, I mean, some of the stuff, I hope your kids get cancer and all that shit. Just horrendous comments, because saying, what did Tony possibly say in that tweet? You read that tweet, Tony Khan's being a dick. You don't say, we are focusing on our show. It's already labelled, it's already sorted, chief. He's being a dick. When you semi-end that sentence with a comma, and then you just have one more word when you're calling him chief, he's basically saying, I am sorting it out. I am sorting it out, Chief.
Yeah.
So he is being a dick.
Yeah.
So I just
I don't get it. I don't know why he put
no,
it out.
I
It
don't.
make any sense, does it really?
No, no, because he's clever enough to know better. We
Yeah.
know that he's intelligent enough to know better. So in putting out that tweet looks like he doesn't have the facts, like he doesn't understand what he's saying, and we know that he does.
Like
I
all
don't get it.
WWE have to do to counter that is put Brock Lesnar at the last half hour of the show, because we all hate Brock Lesnar, or there's lots of hate for him and all this sort of stuff. But somehow people want to view and people turn in by the droves. So if you put Brock Lesnar in that last half hour slot, it's gonna we know it's gonna beat it in the ratings anyway.
Yeah.
But like you said, putting that sort of thing just makes him, like I say, it's gonna repeat on him something rotten, because everyone's gonna be like, hey, do you remember that tweet that you put out? When he puts stuff now, when he tweets stuff out now, people are always going to put, hey, do you remember that tweet that you put out last time?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
But,
Exactly. I've been thinking while we've been talking, and there's only one thing that I can think of. The only thing I can think of as to why he's put that tweet out is because he's basically trying to rally his army. He's trying to get as many people tuning into AEW instead of SmackDown. Maybe it's a stroke of genius. Maybe he's going, look, we can't bridge this gap in a week. It's impossible.
Yeah.
The only thing we can try and do is if, say, 2 million people was planning on tuning into SmackDown on Friday, every one of them that sees that tweet go, do you know what? I'm actually going to watch AEW live instead after seeing that tweet. It's double jeopardy, because you're not just AEW aren't just gaining more viewership. If they gain one person, so say someone completely random flicking through the channel and they tune in, that's one extra person, that's great. But for every person that sees that tweet that usually watches SmackDown that is now changing their mind and going to watch AEW, for every one person AEW gain, that's one that SmackDown come down. So it's basically two. That gap doesn't change by 2 views. It change by 1 view. It changes by 2 views. So for if you think of that on a much larger scale, if 200,000 people that you would watch SmackDown go, oh, I'm not going to watch SmackDown now, I'm going to watch AEW after seeing that. I'm going to see what they've got planned. If that happens, SmackDown lose 200,000 people and AEW gain those 200,000 people. So the gap has been shrunk by 400,000 people. Maybe it's a stroke of genius. What I would have respected more is for him to call his army, because we know that they exist. Because I don't watch AEW the way I watch WWE. I go onto YouTube and I watch the highlights of it, simply because I can't get behind a product the way that I have done WWE. And there's a lot of dickhead WWE fans. Do not get this twisted. There's probably more dickhead fans within the WWE fan base than what there is in the AEW fan.
Yeah. I've come across some.
Simply because WWE is so much larger than AEW. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if AEW just feels like a pond of bitterness, and it's just it doesn't end. It's constant. How can we be as salty as possible? How it's just the constant petulant digs that you would see on a school ground, and it's constant from the wrestlers, from Tony Khan himself, from the fans. The AEW fanboys that only watch AEW, that they spend more time slagging WWE off than what they do watching and praising their own show. And I don't understand that mentality. Like it's just nonsense. And I can't get behind a product as good as AEW is and as good as the wrestling is. I can't get behind it the way that I want to, because I despise a large chunk of what the AEW fan base are putting out that I personally see on Twitter. I can't speak for all of them.
It's a lot of the wrestlers themselves, and it's sort of like they always start. You always see lots of posts that lots of places have made, comments and forums and stuff like that, where they put AEW slate WWE or badmouth WWE, and it's like, and it's getting to the point where it's like, what again? Like what kind of hold does WWE have on you? I mean, you're in a company that's allowing you to work less dates, more money, and every week you have to come out and mention something about your competitor. I don't go into McDonald's, right? And on a poster, every time you go into McDonald's, there's a poster saying, "We're better than the Whopper." You know what I mean? Every McDonald's you go in, there's a poster up that says, "We're better than the Whopper." Every time they go in, "Oh, you're getting a Big Mac. You know it's better than the Whopper." I've never heard that.
No,
I've never heard that.
No, is that because you know?
And even
focus
last
on
week,
your own shit.
yeah, and last week even MJF mentioned Bruce Pritchard. He says, "If I don't get an answer, I'm going to leave this company. I've got Bruce Pritchard on speed." I was like, "We all know who that is, but you didn't have to mention that. Why? Look, concentrate on your own shit."
I've lost respect.
Shit. Stop mentioning it.
I have lost respect for CM Punk, and I think I will lose respect for Bryan Danielson as well, because he's not done it yet, but it will come. CM Punk, you had to respect, because you can't blame CM Punk for not particularly liking WWE as a company, for not liking Vince McMahon, for not liking Triple H. The way that he was treated was an absolute joke. It was a disgrace. It was CM Punk and Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley. The way that them two in particular, Jon Moxley nearly died, and if CM Punk wouldn't have just not stopped turning up for work, he also could have died. And you've got to think about things like Eddie Guerrero. You've got to think of things like Brian Pillman. You've got to think about things like Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit. If the awareness and the mental health awareness and the welfare policy that they now keep brandishing out every 2 seconds, if that was much more prevalent back then and was in action more, and people got the help that they needed, and people going, "My God, mentally I'm done, physically I'm done, I'm in pain." Take a month off.
Did you see about Braun Strowman?
I've seen a lot of his tweets recently, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he put out a story saying that he collapsed in the shower.
He had worked
a pay-per-view for WWE, but before then he worked some live events. I think he said he worked from Thursday to Sunday non-stop. He said he think he got like an hour's sleep in 4 days, and he said he went home on the Sunday after the pay-per-view, and he was in the shower and he collapsed for exhaustion.
This is still happening. Yeah. This is the issue. That should not be allowed to happen. You are driving a human being that is not superhuman into the ground, and this is what WWE do constantly. And you know what I don't like is it. The Rock, John Cena, Edge. I love Edge is one of my favorite of all time. Right? I love Cena. Yeah, exactly. The Rock probably is my favorite of all time, simply because he made me. I was a teenager when Rock was in his prime, and when you're 13-year-old and you're hearing The Rock sing to Vicky Guerrero, saying that she dresses like a hooker, but not the expensive kind. Like, at 13, 14, how can you not fall in love with this guy? I want to be him, But
it was the other way for me. Back in like 98, 99, all that sort of 2000 lot, it was Austin.
Yeah, you were either, but again, he's another one. But
or an Austin fan. I was always a Kane fan, but you always had to like either Austin or The Rock, and I was always Steve Austin. There was a few of us there was a few friends that I had that liked The Rock as well. So
I literally was one of the very, very few people who was stubborn. That's the autism in me coming out. I couldn't pay. I like whenever someone said, "Yeah, but who do you prefer?" I don't. I love them both equally. If they're gonna have another match at Mania, who do you want to win and win the belt? I don't care.
There was a universal character that we all loved, and that was the Undertaker.
Yes.
Even when he was facing Kane, who was my favorite, and I was like, "I told you Kane would lose," and I'd be like, "Well, he's still my favorite. It doesn't matter." But when Austin or The Rock was on, it was always whose side you're on. But when the Undertaker came out, say if he was fighting, say The Rock or the Undertaker or Stone Cold, it was always like we're going for the Undertaker here. He's just like universal.
But I think the Undertaker's very different in this because he was known as the Godfather backstage. I think he had a lot. I think Undertaker because Vince knew how much he needed Mark Calloway to be happy and on side. Because Undertaker was his biggest moneymaker. The same thing with Shawn Michaels. Triple H has openly admitted it. You know, when D-Generation X first started, and there was the first 3 or 4 weeks, there was spitballing, and there was just, you know, back then it was all ad lib. You just made it up on the spot in your promos.
Yeah.
You know, you was allowed to say what you want, and you know, Vince tried to script it, and he wrote down on a piece of paper, right? You know,
and they were like, "We're going to say what we want."
Shawn Michaels balled it up into a ball and bounced it off Vince McMahon's forehead and told him to go fuck himself.
There's a bit. I don't know if you've seen it. I'll have to send you it. There's some outtakes. So you know where they said on tonight's broadcast on Raw, we will not say words like sausage, and there would be a big sausage there. Well, actually, they did a load of bleeping things where they were saying like bollocks, shit, fuck, all this sort of stuff, right? And obviously they cut it out. But there's actually a video of that on YouTube of them doing all these outtake bits.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to send me
that. With China with them, sort of laughing and.
But what I'm trying to say is Triple H said, right, that Shawn Michaels was the only man in WWE who could have done that and not get sacked.
Yeah.
Because Vince McMahon knew that this is Shawn Michaels. Like I can't keep this company successful if I lose Shawn. He was just that good. You know, Ric Flair. Let's not get into it again because look, but the playing right from hell and what Ric Flair did.
I will say this about you got WWE in one hand where I think hopefully this is what I'm hoping from AEW. They sort of see and go, well, maybe we're not now attracting people because we're overworking them. We're not letting them have time off when they want, all that sort of stuff. So I'm hoping that WWE learn and go, okay, maybe we need to change there. But on the other hand, you have AEW where you've got people like Mark Henry in a sort of a senior position sort of thing, saying it's okay to bully people in wrestling. Him and Billy Ray had a podcast where they were saying about hazing people, basically bullying them until they get right and all that. And they were saying that today's wrestlers are weaker than they were because they weren't hazed. And Mark Henry sort of saying, yeah, we should be hazing, we should be bullying. And he's like in that senior position at AEW. And not only that, you've got Arn Anderson talking about guns.
Yeah, no.
And imagine if both of them worked for WWE and they did that. They would be future endeavored quicker than you could tweet it out.
No, and this is what I'm trying to say. It's like, you know, there are certain people who get away with a lot more, but, you know, I don't get what I'm trying to say is I love Edge. Edge is one of my favorite of all times. You know, Rock, Stone Cold, not as much, but definitely Rock and John Cena and Edge. You know, you've got to be the hardest worker in the room. You know, don't complain, don't moan, do as you're told, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of feel like it would be more beneficial for a Rock or a John Cena or an Edge, but specifically Rock and Cena because of the global fan base that they now have outside of wrestling.
Yeah,
I would love them to go, no, it's not right to treat a human being like a robot and drive them into the ground. Just because you, John Cena, are fucking nigh on superhuman, and you know, just because you can do that grind, just because you could handle that physical, mental, and emotional strain, just because you could handle it, doesn't mean that other people can't handle it. And what these human beings are being asked to do by WWE, not giving time off when they're physically injured, not giving time off when they're mentally exhausted and the mental health is struggling. You know, look at Lars Sullivan. Lars Sullivan's career was basically ended because of anxiety, because it got to the point where on a live show his music hit and he had a panic attack backstage and couldn't go out.
Yeah.
You know,
I think he could have been really good, but he had a bad PR. I think because not only did he suffer mentally, but a lot of people were like, "Oh, he was in gay porn," and it was like, and But you saw a load of people, a load of hardcore WWE fans, sort of like, "Oh, get him off the telly. He's crap. He's going to be. Oh, get him. He's better on." It's like, hang on, you're slating him because he might be gay, and it's like, well, this is the 21st century. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like I seen apparently that Lars Sullivan had in his past had put out like Nazi supporting tweets.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's all I would. I wasn't aware about all the gay stuff, but
he was in a gay. This is the thing as well, is you have to be super clean, and going into wrestling now, you have got to leave nothing, because they will dig up anything that you did, even like as a kid. But yeah, he was in some gay porno and stuff.
So what?
But exactly, it was like, but I think he had a bad record, similar to Velveteen Dream. Now, obviously, it came to light that what he did, that was horrendous. But it also came to light
guilty of that,
and nothing came of it.
Exactly.
Even WWE said, "We've done our internal investigation. We went to the police, and they found nothing. He has done nothing wrong."
Yeah.
Yet it stayed with him forever. And this is the point, where you're guilty.
Yeah, and he had one hell of a bright career ahead of him and all.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing was, he left WWE, and then he went to do an indie show, which then had to cancel because they advertised he was on it. And it was like, but he's done nothing wrong.
No, exactly.
And you've literally destroyed the guy because he's done nothing wrong.
No one's hired him now. Like, he got sacked about 6 months ago. He got released about 6 months ago. And his career might be done forever.
Oh, his wrestling career is done because.
But for what? Like, the only thing that I want to point out on that is I find it very, very strange that 6 weeks, 2 months tops, but probably 6 weeks after all that shit came out about him, and then WWE said, "We've looked into it, the police have investigated it, there's no evidence, he's not guilty." 6 to 8 weeks after that, they released him. Now, was there something in it? Did they after that date find evidence? For me, Velveteen Dream was untouchable. He was on a rise with a rocket ship strapped to his back. He was going straight to the top. And the only thing I can think of with how quickly they did a complete 180 and then did release him, some evidence must have come to light that he has done.
Well, he did admit to contacting this guy, and obviously WWE looked into this, but that was it. Nothing ever came of it. I think WWE didn't do enough to it took them a long time to turn around and say, "Look, we've done our investigation. There's nothing in it." But they left it, and I think what happened was a lot of people then started getting momentum behind it. So I think, from a PR point, from a bigger point, I think they just turn around and look. Every time you're going to wrestle, they're going to boo. Every time you wrestle, they're going to tweet out. It doesn't look good, even though you're innocent. It doesn't look good. It's the same if you're convicted of murder, say, and you're in a job now, and you've been innocent, but you'll still get tweets, and the company they work for will still get letters saying you've employed a murderer.
Look, I agree with that.
The company might turn around and go, "Look, we know you didn't do it. It just doesn't look good for us." I'm sorry.
But as the phrase goes, mud sticks.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether it's true. The only thing that I will say to counteract that, because I do actually think that you could very well be right. For me, they're the only two options. Either they found categorical evidence that proves that he has done something wrong, in which case they were well within their rights to release him, and I'm happy that he will never have his career given what he was accused of. Or they've gone, "Look, mud sticks. We know that there's no evidence there, and we know that you as far as we can tell, you've done nothing wrong. But there's a mark against your name now.
I think
so we're going to get rid of that. Could be it. But
I think
Jeff Hardy and all the shit he's done now. again, you'll have people going, yeah, but it's Jeff Hardy, it's different. Then you've got the three times in the space of 2 years, Jimmy Uso got done with drink driving. Again, people go, yeah, but the family is from the Anoa'i family. Right, fair enough. But what about Riddle? Because you can't tell me that Riddle's career was any more promising than what Velveteen Dreams was. Riddle wasn't, this is the same story. And
it got shut down very quickly because he came out as well, didn't he?
They changed his name from Matt Riddle to just Riddle because they wanted the YouTube and Google algorithm. Because every time you tapped in Matt Riddle, it only came up with negative stuff. So they changed his name to just Riddle. But there was also Jordan Devlin. They haven't released him either. So it's like, how can they actually try and rebuild the career of Riddle and Jordan Devlin?
I don't think.
But then they released Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, I think the reason is because they weren't as serious as what Velveteen was actually going, like being shown to, and I think they got burnt with Enzo Amore because he was very good on the mic. He was a crap wrestler, but he was very good on the mic, and he had a promising career. Though it came out later that he was actually quite a dick behind the scenes. He thought he was the dog's bollocks when he wasn't.
Yeah.
But it came out that he'd done these things, and they immediately released him. And then it came out that he was crap, and he was like, "I told you so." And I think that happened with Velveteen Dream. I guarantee you, as soon as it came out, they thought we've got to release him, and they were like, "Oh, hang on, we've been burnt before." Then it came out that he's done nothing, and then, like you say, mud is stuck, and it's like it don't look good for us. Even though you've not done nothing, we can't do anything. We can't change your name. We can't do this.
Look,
even if because I know he disappeared for a while, didn't he? He disappeared, and I don't think it was long enough. I think they should have gone. If he'd done nothing, WWE should have come straight out and said, "Look, we've done our investigation. There's the report of our investigation. It has found nothing. We will not talk about this again. Velveteen team is taking time off." And he should have laid low for a long time, I think, for at least maybe a year, 2 maybe, and then come back.
But maybe that is what will happen. Maybe in 12 months' time, Velveteen Dream will come up. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
But I know he was.
Funnily enough, it's really weird that you mentioned Enzo Amore because he's not really a big name. If you look into the archives of WWE in 10, 15 years' time, who's even going to remember Enzo's name?
Though he did do an awesome promo when he was.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Is like, I was saying this to Nat yesterday, which is weird. You've just mentioned Enzo Amore of all the net because I was literally talking to Nat about because I said to her, she had no idea who they were, so I was showing her videos on YouTube and she was laughing her ass off like we did, and I said, "Do you know what WWE are missing right now?" And she went, "What?" I went, "Enzo Amore and Big Cass. I don't care who you are, they are missing an act like that because the crowd loved them."
Yeah, the crowd was really into Enzo.
Not just like oh I like this guy. Like Riddle, that's the feeling I get is when he comes out, I was like, I like this guy, I like him. Yeah. Enzo, it was like, they would go nuts. Yeah. They would go ape shit for him because he was so funny.
He had the energy as well.
Yeah, he was energetic. His comedic timing was bang on. Look, was he great? Was he a good wrestler? No, but he had the it thing. Yeah. He had that it thing that the fans just gravitated to him, and the pop that he got. I mean, the noise whenever their music would hit, it would just absolutely explode. Big Cass is a difficult one simply because of the stuff that Carmella has obviously said about him because they were engaged. She accused him of sexual harassment, of stalking her when they split up.
And it also came out that he did do that. He said he had
he admitted it. But she basically accused him of. She accused him of being very, very controlling and just not
drinking.
Yeah, very, 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 very big problem with drink. but he admitted that, you know, to everything that Carmelo accused him of. But then obviously he after a show on the Indies, he kicked off. I think he attacked one of the security guards, and there's the famous picture that I'm pretty sure you've seen of him sat on a curb crying after the police have just arrested him, and he released a statement apologising to his fans and for his family for letting him down. And apparently he's gone into rehab and now apparently he's clean.
He's done rehab. He's doing very well on Impact at the moment.
Yeah,
I've got to say, he's doing very well.
Well, do you know what? Everyone deserves a second chance, and this is the problem. It's like I remember I love Triple H. Like Triple H for me. I mean, honestly, the more that has come out about his heart attack, I mean, I don't know if many people know just how close to death he actually was. Do you know? Stephanie hasn't been at WWE since because she found him. You know, like imagine, just imagine you hear a thud, you go into the kitchen and you see the person that you love on the floor dead. Because his heart wasn't beating, so he was technically dead. Luckily, they managed to get his heart going, and he had major heart surgery, and they obviously put a pacemaker in and stuff. But he was actually dead for a couple of minutes. But you've got to ask yourself, what if Steph wasn't at home? What if he was at home on his own? Then he's dead.
What if, isn't it? So what if?
Well, this is what I'm saying. He was so close to not being with us anymore, and you know he will go down as one of the greatest of all time. But he's got so much more to give because when you look at what he has done with NXT, you can see that his mind for the wrestling business is on it. He knows what he's doing, and I think it disappoints me when I see certain things that Triple H says because I find Triple H to be very, very cold and harsh with very specific individuals. Yeah, I almost get the feeling with him, if he likes you,
you'll do all right.
If he doesn't like you, you've never got a chance.
Yeah,
and it's the same with Vince.
Yeah.
It's the same with Vince. And the reason why I say that is because the very, very first episode of Corey Graves' After the Bell podcast, there was an added clip that was added to YouTube. I think it's on WWE's official YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And Corey Graves basically he actually asks him about Enzo and Big Cass and stuff because what Corey Graves said was exactly what I would love to say to Vince McMahon and Triple H. And what Corey Graves said was, "We've all been young, we've all been arrogant, we've all made mistakes." You know, Corey Graves went, "I hold my hands up when I got signed to NXT, and I was looking at everyone else that got signed at the same time as me. I'm like, I'm taking all your spots. I know I'm better than all of you, and you have to have that mentality in order to get to the very, very top in that business. You have to have that killer mentality of I am better than all of you. If you don't, if you're looking around going, oh, he's better than me, he's better at promos than me, he's bigger than me, his knob's bigger than mine, like you ain't going nowhere. You know, so you've got to have that mentality. And what Corey Graves said was, Enzo was very, very immature, very arrogant, thought that it was the dog's bollocks, like you said earlier. And Corey Graves basically said, can you see, a space in the future for them being given another chance the way that the Dudley Boys was given another chance, the way the Hardy Boys was given another chance, Drew McIntyre, the way Randy Orton has been given God knows how many chances, and
Ric Flair.
The things that Ric Flair has done and been accused of, if that was anybody else, it'd have been sacked 30 years ago. But unfortunately, it was Ric Flair. You know, so what really annoyed me what I don't like about it is I love Triple H so much and I respect this man so much. He is one of my. I mean, if I was to do a Mount Rushmore of my favorite of all time, he's in that top four. He's in that top four for me. He was that good, and he actually sat there and said, "No, I do." He said, "As long as I'm working for this company, that little shit or whatever it was," he said, "that little whatever will never have a job at this company ever again. I will make sure of it. And I thought, you fucking prick. Because I'm like, what are you trying to say there, Paul? Are you trying to say that your shit doesn't stink? Are you trying to say that you've not made mistakes? Are you trying to say that you 25 years ago wasn't that same arrogant, obnoxious piece of shit that Enzo was? Because everything that I've seen from Enzo in the last 2 years is he genuinely understands what he did wrong.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of things on Instagram Live with him, and he's so open and honest. He's like, I fucked up. And he said, you know, my dream job got ripped away from me, and it was 100% my fault. And I will live with that for the rest of my life. And he's like, you know, do I regret it? Of course I regret it. If I could go back in time and do things differently, I would do. He gets it. He understands that what he did, that the way he was and the attitude that he had, and how arrogant and how obnoxious. If you alienate yourself from everyone backstage, including your bosses, you're never gonna be successful. Doesn't matter where you are. But he gets it now. He understands what he did wrong. And are people not allowed to grow and change? Because I would, if I was in the same room with Triple H, I would say, Paul, you've done this. You was him, and you learn that's not you need to treat people with respect. You need to treat your bosses with respect. You was an absolute cock when you was younger and you did stupid things. And you learned from that and you became a better person and you've grown as a human being. Why is Enzo Amore not allowed to do the same thing? Because we can all see that he is doing. So for Triple H to sit there and say, as long as I'm working for this company, we'll never have a job here again. It's like, Ric Flair, after everything he's done, was allowed to stay there. Like, come on. Like, it's just it really does show just how corrupt everything is. And there is so much, you know. It's who your name is, you know.
It's like that in life as well. I mean, one of the sayings that I say at work is it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely it is. You know, it's you know, it's look, the things that I've done and semi-accomplished, you know, like I learned to play the piano very, very quickly. And the work that I did do on the piano wasn't because I was any better than anyone else. It wasn't because I was that great. I was quite fortunate in the sense of music just makes sense to me. I can pick up an instrument and play it. Like I can watch someone play a song once and just memorize the sequence, and I can just do what they've done. I can copy it. I'm very, very lucky that there are positives to being autistic as well as negatives, and that is one of the major positives. Is the way that my brain works. I can see things in patterns, and I find patterns very, very easy, and I find it very easy to follow, and I can memorize things very, very well. But I didn't do anything because of that. I knew a lot of people who was very, very, very good. I had friends who one of my closest friends, Carl, is one of the greatest guitarists you would ever see, ever. And you put him in the same breath as all of your favorite guitarists, and the reason why he isn't world renowned and well known is because he didn't want it. You know, he was in a. I mean, his band is still on Spotify, still on YouTube. You can check him out. His band was called Into the Fire. And in the mid-90s, he was doing a world tour. He woke up in Tokyo in Japan, opened up his curtains and seen a golf course. And was a massive golf fan. He went, oh my God, there's nothing more on earth I want to do right now and go out and have a round of golf. And he went to his bedtime table to have a drink of water. And while he was asleep, his manager had been in with a sheet of paper, and it was 11 a.m. photo shoot, 11:30 sound check, 1 p.m. lunch, 2 p.m. second sound check, 12:30 you can have a 5-minute shit break. His entire day was completely planned out, and that was every day. And it got to the point where he went, I'm not enjoying this. Oh, he didn't particularly care about fame. He knew that he would always earn enough money to survive and be happy. So now he teaches people and he gigs. He does local gigs in pubs, and he's done that for the last 25 years. And the amount of times people have said to him, "Do you regret it? Do you regret saying I'm not doing this anymore?" And he's like, never, because he said the life that he's led has been so much happier. He earns a really, really good wage. I mean, he's pulling in thousands a month. You're talking, I don't know, probably $3 or $4 grand a month he's pulling in, which is a fucking really good wage. But it's not the millions that he could have potentially got had he have wanted that fame and that exposure. But he didn't want it.
No.
But again, like, I was fortunate that I knew him and I was really close friends with him, which is why things, progressed. It is absolutely. It's not what you know. It is who you know, and you see it within WWE when you look at the releases of Bray Wyatt, of Braun Strowman, of CM Punk, of Dean Ambrose, of Velveteen Dream. Like these guys moaned. Velveteen Dream, obviously Mud Sticks, Lars Sullivan, Mud Sticks, and they went, nah, I'm gonna get rid of you. And then when you look at John Moxley, Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, CM Punk, they're vocal people, and they're gonna go, Vince, this is fucking bullshit. He doesn't know his head from his ass. His promos suck. His writing sucks. This is shit. I'm not doing it. I'm not going outside. They would do that every single week. They were constantly annoyed with the. Now, us as wrestling fans go, we're with you. We agree. These promos do suck. They're so cheesy. But at the same time, they would moan and moan and moan and moan. And I honestly believe it got to the point where Vince and Triple H and Bruce Pritchard and all the rest of the big wigs went, I'm fucking sick of you moaning.
In my office every day moaning. Bye-bye. Yeah.
But if you're Randy Orton and your surname is Orton or your surname's Flair, you get away with a lot more.
I think it all comes down as well to, they've already said this. I mean, Mustafa Ali's already said this as well. It comes down to merchandising and how sellable you are. So I think for Bray Wyatt, I think he did push back, and they were like, I think for a long time they were like, okay, do what you want because you sell stuff. But I think it got to a point where they were like, right, he's not here. He hasn't sold enough merch. Bye-bye.
I think what happened was after John Huber died and his mental health hit the pan and he went, I'm mentally, I can't do this. They kind of seen an opportunity to get rid of a problem, because Aleister Black has been very, very vocal of his support of Bray Wyatt, the way all of us as fans of Bray Wyatt support him. And we I don't give a shit if I never see him wrestle again. And I mean that. I love Bray Wyatt. I love his mind. I love his creative mind. I love the way he sees things and the way that he articulates things. I think he's got an incredible mind. But if he's happy and healthy, if he says the only way I can mentally be happy is if I don't wrestle, I hope he never wrestles again. That his mental health and his family's health should come first. And he is putting them first at the minute. But I think it got to the point where there was like, he's not been here for 3 or 4 months, so his merch sales have obviously dropped because he's not been seen on TV. And they went, here's an opportunity to get rid of a guy who, when he is here, he doesn't stop fucking moaning. Now, me and you as Bray Wyatt fans go, fucking listen to him, because what he's saying is right. And I genuinely believe that. We want to go listen to Bray Wyatt, listen to Aleister Black, because what they're saying is spot on. Listen to CM Punk, listen to Dean Ambrose. What they're saying is we can't handle the stress of it. Braun Strowman, he collapsed in the shower. He's a big guy. He's 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah.
The size he is, what if he'd have collapsed in that shower and banged the back of his head and died, which happens all the time. And that happened because of stress and fatigue, because they put too much on him.
Yeah.
And
definitely, yeah.
It's one of them, innit?
But one thing I want to say just before we go, what did you think of the TBS title for the women?
I don't really see the point, to be honest, because I don't think AEW care. They don't showcase their women.
Yeah, when it was showcased and they presented it and everything else, it didn't go down very well. I think mainly because what I said on a lot of the posts, which seemed to get a lot of likes, which was they don't have enough passion in their women's division already to warrant a second title.
It's not the passion in the women's. I've seen those tweets as well. I've seen those tweets. There isn't, and it's bollocks. There's plenty of passion in that women's division.
Yeah. I mean, not in that sense. I mean, there's just not enough.
No. I know exactly exactly how you mean it. I'm saying I've seen those tweets as well. That there isn't passion. It's not about the passion. It's AEW's women's division is WWE's women's division in the Attitude Era. They didn't care about them. They was AEW. I absolutely guarantee I would die on my sword with this comment. They make sure they have one women's wrestling match so they can go, see, we do care about women. See, look, there's a women's match there. That's the only reason. It's so they put a women's match on so no one can moan that there was no women's wrestling on it. But they don't care about the women. It's all focused on Omega, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Adam Cole, all those, that's who they care about. It's like, do you think Malachi Black is happy? Because I don't.
He hasn't, he hasn't, it's good that he's there and it's good that he's doing what he wants creatively. But yeah, I don't get it. Maybe because it's AEW and we know what he's capable of, but he hasn't had, I don't think he's shined yet. He's not shined at all.
No, he isn't. No.
And the thing that annoys me mainly about all of this is how much they moaned that they didn't get what they wanted, as in enough TV time creatively and stuff like that. And it seems like they've got what they wanted creatively. They just don't seem to have that TV time.
No.
I think they're stuck as well because they've only got the hour on Rampage and then the hour or the 2 hours on Dynamite. I know that they have Dark and Elevation, but no one really watches them. Let's not beat around the bush because I don't. And I barely watch Rampage either.
No, it's what I watched the highlights.
But yeah, it's. I don't think it's not like I said that they haven't got enough passion. I said that I didn't feel that they respected the women enough to deserve a second title. I mean, you've got Britt Baker, who's a great wrestler, but what have they done with her?
No, they don't showcase the women the way that WWE did.
It's like every week they'll have a women's tag match, or it'll be Thunder Rosa because Thunder Rosa is a crowd puller. Everyone wants to see her, and that'll be it. There'll be a few segments backstage, but that'll be it.
They don't care. They don't care about women's wrestling on AEW.
No, I've said I don't know if I've said this, but I've thought anyway that if you've got a contract for AEW and WWE and you're a female star, you're going to go to WWE. You're going to get more opportunity, even in the NXT in their developmental. There's still an opportunity, a bigger opportunity there. I know certain people have become bitter on that. Chelsea Green's one of them. She wanted to be a big star in WWE. She had potential, but obviously WWE never saw that, and she's become very bitter over that.
Well, to be honest, I never seen it either.
Yeah, what's that?
I never seen her potential either. I never seen potential in her either.
She still thinks she got fired because they wanted to use her house for filming, and she said no. Because they wanted to do some filming in her house. And she said no, and then she was released a little bit after that, and she believes that's why she was fired. I don't think that. I don't think she had the it factor when it comes to the women.
Definitely not.
I think she was pretty standard, to be fair. She would have done well in the Diva era, but not in the women's era that it is right now. And I think that's what AEW got. I think they've got some really good wrestlers, but I think mainly it's divas that they have. And everyone screams for Thunder Rosa, and I think it was this week she came running out. She done a run out to save someone, and the crowd went mad, and that was it. And it was like, right? Okay, so why aren't you pushing this? Why aren't you using this? Come on.
Yeah.
Because people are more focused on things. But another thing, just before we go, CM Punk's turned around and said he knows that the viewing figures have gone down since him and Daniel Bryan have done there. But he said exactly what I said, where she said it's a long-term plan. You know,
Absolutely.
It's going to take 5 years to see any real change. And it's exactly what I've been saying. You know, AEW's the new kid on the block. Let's see what happens in 5 years, you know?
Exactly. And you've been saying that for...
CM Punk's actually said it this week. You know, he said he knows he's not going to change viewership overnight. And it's a long thing. So, but anyway, England are about to kick off. So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me. He's been Kev. I've been Dan. We'll see you in the next one, guys. See you later.
See you in the next one. See you later.